Okay, in this lecture, we'll be having a look at what not to do in an interview. It's important to avoid common pitfalls that can lower your chances of success. At the end of the day, you're going to put loads of effort and preparation into this interview, so don't ruin your chances with some very easy things that you can avoid. So let's start by looking at some statistics on the most common interview errors from leading companies. According to a survey by Career Builder, lateness stands out as the top concern, with 23% of employers highlighting it as a significant issue. Dressing appropriately follows closely, with 31% of hiring managers expressing a concern about it. Preparation is also paramount, given that according to Top Resume, 47% of hiring managers cite lack of preparedness as one of the biggest errors that they see. Additionally, failing to engage by asking questions is also a red flag for 84% of HR managers. This next one might seem obvious, of speaking negatively about their past employers or colleagues. The obvious reason for this is that there are always two sides to any disagreement. In this case, it's your previous employer versus your side of things. So what if the issue is with you and they become the employer that you later complain about? They'd rather take a chance on somebody who can get on well with their last employer, and it shows a trend for positivity and being a good team player who can get along with authority. Hi, Udemy instructor Michael James here. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to point out that if you're enjoying this video and this playlist, you can get the entire course at a discount with the link in the description below this video. You can buy it on learnmanagementonline.com and also find some really cool bundles for a really good price on that site as well. Or you can go direct to Udemy and buy it there. You can search for Michael James or just use the link in the description below the video. With that said, thanks for watching this video and happy learning. Being negative about past employers is particularly detrimental, noted by 23% of hiring managers as the most damaging error in an interview. Unsurprisingly, honesty is non-negotiable, as according to Hire Right, 85% of employers report encountering lies or misrepresentations on CVs. And finally, demonstrating enthusiasm while managing nerves is crucial. 30% of employers mention a lack of enthusiasm and 20% note excessive nervousness as common issues. Although personally, I think the detriment of this depends on the role. For example, for sales roles, nervousness might be a big factor and a deal breaker, but for things like computer programming, for example, then maybe nervousness might be a little bit more accepted. Ultimately, we want to reduce nerves as much as possible and go in confidently. And there is always going to be a bit of nerves, but with my course and the things that I'm going to teach you, and with you preparing for the role adequately, we can really mitigate those nerves. Okay, balancing conversation is a vital concern as well. 31% of HR managers caution against excessive talking, whilst 20% advise against being too reserved. So now that you have a bit of context from some stats that I've found through researching this, let's have a look at how you can avoid making common mistakes and ace that interview. Starting with negative framing. Instead of dwelling on what you lack, emphasize your strengths. No one is perfect. There is no perfect candidate. Everybody lacks something. So don't dwell on this. Sell your strengths. When you speak positively about yourself. It boosts your confidence and it leaves a better impression with the interviewer. Remember, they want to know why you are the right person for the job. So focus on showcasing your skills and experiences that align with the role. And again, not everybody's going to be the perfect candidate. They'll accept that some people don't have all the skills necessary and some training might be required. So don't dwell on what you lack, dwell on your strengths. The next one is ineffective communication. Long, complicated, and unplanned answers can make it difficult for the interviewer to understand your point. Practice delivering concise responses that address the question directly. Aim for a balance. Provide enough detail to demonstrate your qualifications. This shows that you can communicate effectively and respect the interviewer's time. The next one is unprofessional behavior. Speaking negatively about past employers or colleagues reflects poorly on your professionalism and may raise concerns about how you handle challenging situations. Instead, frame your experiences in a positive light and focus on what you learn from them. Employers value candidates who can maintain a constructive attitude, even in difficult circumstances. The next one is lack of enthusiasm, and this is actually very critical. Your enthusiasm for the role and the company can be just as important as your qualifications. So show genuine interest by researching the company beforehand and expressing enthusiasm during the interview. Let them know that you're excited about the opportunity and how you believe you can contribute to their team. A top tip here is to learn the company values. Enthusiasm is an important aspect because they want somebody dedicated to the task. They want somebody that they can trust to take the role seriously. They ultimately want to hire somebody that will enjoy the role and are likely to stay. If you don't have all the qualifications or experience, but you do have enthusiasm, then they might decide to hire you and provide training because they believe you're going to stay. And remember, not every candidate or not all candidates have all of the criteria. So enthusiasm is a big aspect of helping you get across that line. The next one is premature discussion of compensation. In other words, asking how much you're going to get paid, what's the salary, what are the benefits, etc. So while salary and benefits are important, of course, bringing them up too early in the interview process can give the impression that you're more focused on what you can get rather than what you can offer. So let the employer take the lead on discussing compensation and salary. Use the interview to demonstrate your value and fit for the role. Focus on that. Basically, any questions about salary ideally should be asked before the interview so nobody's time is wasted, but we will cover this in the course. It is a tricky one. Okay, the next one is oversharing personal information. While it's important to build rapport with the interviewer, overstating and oversharing personal information and details can detract from your professional image. Keep the conversation focused on the job and try to only share personal information if it directly contributes to your suitability to the role. So, for example, if you have a hobby which supports the type of position that you're interviewing for, then it's great to bring it up to show authenticity. Now, it is good sometimes to show that you have a life outside of work, but there is some tact that's needed to understand what to share and what not to share. Again, I will cover this in the course, but if you want to err on the side of caution, just stick to anything that's relevant to the role. Okay, the next one is asking inappropriate questions. Asking thoughtful questions demonstrates your interest in the role and the company and its culture, but be careful not to overstep boundaries. Avoid questions that go into sensitive or confidential topics, as they may make the interviewer uncomfortable. Stick to questions that showcase your curiosity and enthusiasm for the position. So it could be, how can you see this position developing in the future? This style of question shows that you are thinking long term, and that will be a big tick for you. The next one is lack of preparation, and as I was citing the statistics at the start of this video, we saw that this is an important one. So do research the company and the role beforehand, because that shows that you're serious about the opportunity and you're invested in your own success. Take time to familiarize yourself with the company's mission, values, and recent projects, and any relevant industry news. This knowledge will not only impress the interviewer, but also help you tailor your responses to align with the company's goals. In this case, the saying, "you can never be too prepared," is very true. I have an activity lecture later in the course which will give you some tips on how to research the company. Okay, the next one is premature discussion about flexibility. While it's important to address logistical details like scheduling and flexibility, save these discussions for later in the interview process. Focus on demonstrating your qualifications and fitness for the role first. Once you've established yourself as a strong candidate, you can negotiate these details with confidence. And finally, failure to acknowledge mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but what sets you apart is how you handle them. Acknowledge any past missteps and demonstrate what you've learned from them. This shows that you're self-aware, accountable, and committed to continuous improvement. All qualities that employers value in their employees. So as we conclude, let's take a moment to ease any nerves that you have about your upcoming interview. It's entirely normal to feel a bit anxious when stepping into the spotlight. However, with the insights that we've explored, you're not just stepping in blindly into the unknown. As mentioned in the previous video, try to see an interview as an opportunity to showcase your talents, skills, and unique qualities. You've already taken the first step by seeking out advice on what to avoid, which shows your dedication to making a positive impression. And remember, you're not expected to be perfect. Embrace your authenticity, acknowledge any nerves, and know that it's okay to stumble. What matters is how you pick yourself up and how you continue to move forward. So join me in the next video where I will be discussing the pre-interview preparation. So smarten up and I will see you there.